Ready. Play.
Pressure.
Backhand into the net, backhand on the return, into the top of the net, deuce.
Mm.
And Pegula's annoyed with herself for that. She was trying to go for that return, but it kind of kicked up. Just didn't get enough on the... Yeah, it was a little high. But anyway, Swiatek now is at deuce.
Is this a Zvonareva stan that is entered the chat? Hi.
I mean, if that's the case, you
Deservedly
must
so, yeah.
be loving life right now.
Yeah.
There's
She's part of the WTA Finals doubles championship team with Laura Siegemund. Yeah.
Friend of the show, Lara Siegemund.
Yeah.
Here we go. Swiatek. Serving. Nope, she's abort the ball toss. She's not happy. Exhales. Gets ready to go. First serve in play. Short return from Pegula. Swiatek. Oh, that ball's off the top of the net, but it's in really deep. Overhead from Swiatek. Jess gets a bracket on it. Another swing volley from Swiatek. High winner up the line. Match point.
Match point, championship point. Things have just been falling her way.
We may as well just call it everything point at this rate.
Yeah. The final point of the WTA season.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. It depends how you feel about ITFs and of course the Billie Jean King Cup, of which we actually have coverage from happening with John, who's on the ground, and there's actually some press conference coverage that's on the channel. You should check it out after you hear us describe the end of this match.
Absolutely.
Swiatek is bouncing the ball.
58 minutes in.
Can she win in under an hour? Serves. First serve in play. Pegula, really, really tight angle on the backhand. Swiatek's going to have to make a run for it. Pegula's long, and Swiatek has fallen onto her back. She has the biggest smile on her face. She sits up and she shouts Yadza at her box, Nadal-esque. And she wins the WTA Finals final in under an hour. That was a dominant performance from returning world number one. Well done, Iga Swiatek.
She does it efficiently as possible.
That was insane to commentate.
That was a great level.
I like the bakery is open. She finished the season on a bagel. Iga's Bakery is going to have a field day on Twitter. She's congratulating. She's celebrating with her team. She's getting emotional. She's crying already.
Oh.
What? Just wow. Just wow. I have not commentated on Iga Swiatek win like that. I've watched plenty at home. This is the first time I've had the privilege of commentating on it. That was mad. That was. You can dig into stuff Pegula could have done better. I think she would have won her, but that would have won her a couple of extra games, maybe.
I think maybe I'm just partial, but I do think the level that Iga Swiatek showed at that French Open in 2020, in particular against Simona Halep, was some of the best tennis I've ever seen. But this performance in your last match of the season in singles, in singles or doubles for that matter, it is efficient. And she was just as sharp, if not sharper, than she was in her semifinal when she beat Sabalenka. And that's all you can ask for. Like 6-1-6 love to close out your last match. I think I said earlier that Swiatek would love to have her final match of the season be 6-1-6 love. I kind of said it tongue in cheek. I didn't think it would actually happen, but here we are.
She's done it.
Pegula's basically just like trying to file her nails and keep it together. And she didn't play a terrible match. I don't think she lit it up the stat sheet and made it easy for Swiatek, but Swiatek was just on it. All of her shots, even the ones that weren't like meaningful and kind of shanky, all of those were landing in and making it difficult for Pegula. So congrats to Swiatek.
And this is showing the much more patient play that she's been showing since Beijing, where she can go for winners, and she did a couple of times, but she doesn't feel the need to do it as much as she was earlier this year when she was rushing quite a bit, particularly during the North American hardcourt season. She's just much more dangerous when she plays like that.
Has she lost since she lost to Ostapenko at the U.S. Open? She lost a
Yeah,
match.
she lost to Kudermetova in Tokyo.
Yes, in Tokyo. So one loss since the U.S. Open, a
So
Beijing title and a WTA Finals title. That's a good level to end your season. That's a really good level.
And obviously, that's going to give her a huge confidence boost going into 2024.
Yeah, not that she needed an extra one, but you know.
Well, I don't know, because like Jamari's asked a question in the chat that
I was going to
gonna
hit on
ask.
that. Yeah, I would love
I
to.
was going to ask you. Okay, so we're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Who's the player of the year? Is it Swiatek or Sabalenka?
I think Swiatek has just made a solid case, for me at least, as to why she deserves to be player of the year. I would vote for her. Recency bias aside, after just watching that match, I think a slam plus a WTA final. She's actually won at every single level this year. She's won a 250, a 500, a 1000, a slam, and the WTA finals.
Yeah,
like that is a great season. She's taken bits and pieces of everything you can win in the WTA.
She's won more titles than anyone else this year as well. Like she's still topping the titles list, which you would expect from the world number one. And yeah, I think here's the thing. I think if you look and actually, you know, she could have won a couple more, because if she wasn't sick in Dubai, she would have won that, I think. And definitely if she didn't pull out of Rome mid-match with Rebecca, because I'm still convinced she would have won that match in that quarterfinal had she carried on.
Okay.
But she was being precautionary about any potential injuries. I think she would have won
and it
Rome.
served her well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. So, like, there was a couple more on the table, but what I was going to say was, I think Swiatek, if you look at the regular WTA season, yeah, strongest across the WTA season. She's won more big titles than anyone else still, even without those missing. She's put herself in contention at pretty much every single regular WTA event, well, 1000s and 500s that she's played anyway. I think, but with the slams, if you were just going off the majors, Sabalenka, because she's made the semis at all of them, whereas Iga's won one and then made fourth round quarters of the other three. So it depends on which, if you're like the majors matter more than anything else, regardless of how the regular season goes, then you still have to say Sabalenka. If you're kind of a bigger picture person, you have to edge towards Swiatek.
I think Sabalenka has had the best season for Sabalenka, whereas I think the player of the year judges who's had the best season out of everyone. And I think out of everyone, Swiatek has done that. It would be, I mean, even though the slams are the most important, the fact that Sabalenka has been getting to semifinals of slam since 2021 doesn't, as much as that is impressive to do it again in 2023, it also makes it not anything new. Like, we knew that she could get to that level. So her making another semifinal of the French Open, although that was new territory for her, that still doesn't trump, to me, what Swiatek has done this season. Defending her 2022 Roland Garros title, winning the WTA Finals for the first time, a 1000 win in a part of the world that she had really never competed in Beijing. And yeah, I would vote for her. I think she gets the win in my eyes.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a reasonable argument for Sabalenka. I think, you know, if you take a majors, if you focus on the majors, Sabalenka's had the better season. But I agree with you that, yeah, from a whole season perspective, then Swiatek edges it.
Jamari's made it plain and simple. Sabalenka, 2 big titles, Australia, Madrid. Swiatek, 3 big titles,
and that's the point, because Sabalenka's had the opposite season, because outside of the post Australia, because obviously she won the Adelaide title as well, which is a 500. Outside of those, like, Sabalenka wasn't really much in contention for big titles. Like, she was in the Indian Wells final, could have won that, narrowly won Madrid, but then other than that, didn't really put herself in the position to win other titles.
Well, it depends on if you look at her being a set up in the U.S. Open final as an opportunity, because that happened. She was a set away from winning the U.S. Open in Australia just a couple months ago, but it didn't fall her way. So yeah, I can see why somebody would vote for Sabalenka, but I feel like it would be based more in sentimental value of seeing Sabalenka finally reach what looked like was always going to be her peak and finally win a Grand Slam tournament. But overall, I think it's still Swiatek. And to follow up that 2022 season with another slam, 3 big titles, finishing world number 1 again, yeah, like that is an accomplishment. And I feel like we can officially say that Swiatek is the dominant figure in women's tennis. She has competition. She's not like blasting away from Sabalenka,
No.
Coco, and Rybakina. There is a matchup issue against Coco that definitely favors her, but the 2, 3, and 4 behind her set up a nice top 5 along with Jessica Pegula. So it's just that she's clearly it's shown that against even those rivals, if she plays her best, she wins. So yeah.
And let's face it, things worked out for Swiatek at this tournament. It was a slow, hard court, which Blair Henley in the interview said plays like a clay court. That already played into everything she wanted.
Why is everything playing like a clay court these days? We have to write a letter to these tournaments.
Make tennis fast again. We have and then obviously with the wind, Swiatek's high top spin game was always going to work best out of anyone's in those conditions. I do think this final and actually her semi-final, the conditions have calmed down. And she made the most of it. So yeah, full credit to her. I think she made the best of it. There's chat in the there's questions in the chat, so I'm just going to answer it now. Stuttgart is a 500.
It is.
Some people are confused about that.
Swiatek has won it 2 years in a row now, I believe. Yeah,
it's one of her places that she's locked in at.
It's one of her stomping grounds. She has plenty of them.
Paris, Stuttgart, Rome, Doha.
Yeah,
I think that's about it.
I mean, that's a good place to feel comfortable, or good places to feel comfortable. So.
Yeah, fantastic performance from Swiatek. Those with cameras kind of jumping from her, just sort of taking everything in to the WTA trophy. WTA
Do you know
Finals
the
trophy.
name of the WTA trophy? Do you know the name?
No,
of
I
it?
don't. Do you?
It is the Billie Jean King Cup trophy.
That's
or
not
Billie Jean King trophy. I think take out the cup because that's
because the Billie Jean King Cup.
I think it's the Billie Jean King trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, justifiably so, I think. Let's face it, Billie Jean King basically built the WTA. And that's why she's a GOAT contender.
Future friend to the show. We can't wait to get Billie Jean King on Talking Tennis.
That would be amazing. That can be the producer's homework. But yeah, well, we're hoping you enjoy coverage. There seems to be some kind of Spanish guitar performance going on with the
that is the name of a Tony Braxton song. I love that song.
Spanish guitar.
Yes, it's the name of a Tony Braxton song.
Well, join myself and Miles for our music podcast. No, we don't actually have.
Well, we talk about Nelly, country music, and Tony Braxton. I mean, what more could you want?
None of these are things I listen to, by the way. So this could be very short.
I am.
Do you know what this is? No. End of episode.
I'm just expounding your mind. That's all. Which you could do the same to me. I've always wanted to get into different genres of music.
Appreciate it. Thank you. By the way,
thank you as well to Terry. Terry said it's been a great year of commentary. Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've massively enjoyed everything we've done this year. Miles, obviously, always a great job. Damien, Vanch, Damien on screen, by the way, with some great analysis. Even when Pegula had the patterns she wanted, flat aggression at the Swiatek forehand, she quickly got disheartened by how much was coming back. Iga's been so good at these discreet, excellent performances recently. Perfect tactics, execution without trying to be too flashy about it. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Anything you want to add to that, Miles?
Perfectly said by Talking Tennis Damien,
AKA,
one of the pillars of this community. Yeah.
AKA the brain in the jar. As John refers to him. Did we do the Australian Open final? Was it you, me, and Ashley doing? Yes, it was you, me, and Ashley doing the Australian Open final this year.
I think you and I did the WTA Finals last year as well, Nick.
No, I didn't do the final last year because it was a horrific time zone problem. You did it with someone else.
Really?
Yeah, guy who's based in Hawaii. Can't remember his name.
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
yeah. But I could have sworn maybe you were like so. I think you did a lot of matches.
We did. I think we did a semi-final. I think we did the Swiatek Sabalenka semi-final, or at least I remember doing that with Ashley. I can't remember if you were there. But I always want to do commentary with you, Miles.
Steve Simon's making an appearance at the trophy ceremony. Look at that.
I'm checking for rotten fruits. No, Ghosty can't be there.
He looks just as peachy as ever. He should not be.
Well, do you know what there was an Iga Swiatek fan on X who or Twitter, as I should call it, which who tagged me in like the WTA final statement and suggested that either myself or JI from Twitter should be the new WTA Finals president. And I was like, you massively overestimate my business skills.
I wouldn't necessarily. I think you would be a wonderful addition to what the WTA has going on in their headquarters, on the grounds. Like,
yeah, but
it's
I mean,
easy
they can't
to say that because
anymore.
This is true. I mean, but hey, you can multitask. My name is Multitasking Miles-ish. So you can multitask as well, too. Oh, Chris Everett's there for the ceremony. That's nice. She looks great.
This is going to be one of those longer ceremonies, isn't it?
Yeah, they have a lot to talk about, I guess. And they may even, I was thinking about this. This ceremony would be a great time to announce where they are going to put the WTA trophy or WTA finals next year.
Yes.
We'll see. Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, is it we think it's probably going to be Saudi Arabia, right?
Based off of reports, it does seem that way. Yes.
I mean, at this point, I'll just take wherever's a permanent home.
Agree.
Regardless of how uncomfortable and sort of, I guess, weirdly counterintuitive to play the women's tennis finals in Saudi Arabia.
There's, I've said this before, like there's not one utopian place that just ticks off all the boxes. There really isn't. Yeah,
even in the US.
You can complain about several things in the US that would make a case as to why the WTA shouldn't be competing.
UK definitely, yeah.
So, but that's not to minimize people's actual
concerns about it. Yeah,
concerns about Saudi. Not to minimize it, but unfortunately, what the WTA is, it needs financial stability, and if we don't get that, we could be putting the entire tour at risk. And what we like so much as fans of the sport. So I'd rather see the WTA thrive and maybe even make the situation better in Saudi Arabia than how they found it. Hopefully,
I would agree with that.
That's like, in a perfect world. We'll see if that happens, but
no, I agree with that. I think that's my perspective as well. I think my ideal choice would have been Prague had we'd not realized that, but then we found out the issues that they would have had with certain players not being able to go. So which
I think they could have worked around that. If Prague ends up being a home announced well,
because
in advance, that could be great.
Tennis is huge in Czechia. So or is it Czechia? Anyway, it makes no sense to me that their biggest event is a WTA 250.
It was a 500 in Ostrava. Oh, but this season it was a 250 in Prague. Yeah. Ostrava wasn't even on the calendar this year, so Prague literally was the only representation. So.
Yeah, I would love there to be a decent sized Czech event. Just because, again, that it's so big, it would pack the place out. It would be great atmosphere. I would go.
Looks like the crowd is chanting Iga. I love that. That's cute.
Yeah, she seems to have won over a few people. Either that, or she flew some people out from Poland. So there's some kind of speech. The speeches are continuing. Yeah, we are soaking in Iga's return to dominance, maybe, because or at least asserting herself again at the top. I don't think she'll ever be truly dominant in the way Serena was.
Well, she's proven that you can win 2 slams in a season. So I don't think it seems far off now, but coming from somebody that has watched a lot of Serena's career, some of the things that even Serena achieved felt far off, before she achieved them. So you
Fair.
never know. You really never
I,
know.
I guess with Serena, though, she kind of peaked with the Serena Slam very early.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think her first professional match must have been between 94 and 97. She won the US Open in 99. And by 2002, 2003 rather, she had owned every single Grand Slam. I mean, Swiatek's 2 away. I don't necessarily see that she's going to win it in a calendar year format for sure.
And she has to conquer her problems with Wimbledon.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to.
I think she's on the way to doing.
Swiatek Slam. Yeah. He's getting better. I don't think there's a Swiatek Slam in the future, but I definitely think there are a couple more Roland Garros titles on her name, a future Australian Open title with her name.
I would be surprised if she doesn't end her career with at least one Australian Open title.
She's made a semi there before. She could do it again. Derek Edwardson just asked a really good question, I think. Is Iga better than Barty? I don't know about better.
We'll never know.
I think because their rivalry never really got started. I think they played in Madrid and Barty won that one. They played in Adelaide and Barty won that one too.
Yeah, and it was peak Barty as Iga was discovering hers. I would have been interested to see if the Iga from the 2022 streak played Barty.
Yeah.
What happened?
Interesting.
I think that would have been a battle.
If Barty never comes back to the tour, then obviously I think Iga's on a better trajectory to be more accomplished than Barty. And personally, I think I prefer watching Iga over Ash Barty. But Ash Barty's a good player in her own right.
Yeah. I would, well, obviously, I'm of course going to agree with that. I would. I think Iga would have beaten Barty in 2022 if they played again.
At least one. Yeah, I agree.
If on any surface other than grass, Barty would
probably have sliced her up.
Yeah, would own her on that surface.
But I don't know. We said just a couple minutes ago that everything plays like clay, so who knows these days?
I think the US Open would have been interesting. But then of course, then there's the question, how would have Barty dealt with the Sabalenka surge this season if she was still playing?
They had an interesting rivalry too. They played a couple different times, and their matches weren't bad at all. So,
no, completely. They've had to like Stuttgart, Madrid back to back in 21 was an interesting sequence of matches for those two. Pegula's going up to receive her runners-up trophy, by the way. She's put on some kind of black jumper, flowy. Is it not a jumper? What is that? I had to describe it. I don't know enough about clothing.
Poncho? I think
poncho. That would do it. Yes, thank you. Showing my Britishness, I apologize. That's actually the most British thing I've ever said. Anyway, Pegula has received her runners-up trophy, which looks like a sort of silver snowflake on a wooden stand, and she's now giving her runners-up speech. Is she saying anything interesting, Miles?
Let me turn my
maybe. Well, actually, no. Tell you what, we've got a production assistant in the background. If they're able to listen, they can let us know. I doubt they're going to say anything interesting though, because she's already
congratulated Iga and her team, so it sounds very par of the course.
Yeah, most of these speeches are. I don't really tune in for them. They very rarely give away anything interesting. I think. Obviously, they do give a few highlights, like Jennifer Brady by Osaka when she won Australia in 21.
Coco Gauff's US Open had a pretty good one-liner in there too. So
yeah, Coco's US Open was good. But yeah, we were talking about Barty and how she fits into the big picture. If she was still playing, how would she be matching up with the 2023 version of Sabalenka The
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca's beaten her before. Had beaten her before, I think. Has Rebecca beaten Barty?
They
Anyway,
played once. I think they played in the last WTA match of Barty's career before she retired like WTA tour match.
yeah. I think I remember that being a decent match.
I think she beat Swiatek and Rybakina in that same tournament. Yeah,
the two people who ended up winning slams, two other slams.
So if that's an indicator, then she would have fit right on in.
Yeah. Oh, she would have been a contender. She'd be in like this mix. Like,
oh my gosh! Imagine if we get Osaka into the mix, and we had Ash Barty.
Yeah.
And we had Bianca Andreescu and Raducanu and Leylah Fernandez.
Please.
I want all of those personalities.
I want Osaka in the mix. I want Raducanu in the mix. I want Fernandez in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Zhang Qinwen.
Yes. Sign me up for that as well.
She's on her way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've tweeted about this earlier. Like I just shared the top 10 21 and under rankings on the WTA, like who's there. And yeah, there's some really interesting names. And then like there's some names that are conspicuous by their absence, like Raducanu and Towson and Kvitova. Yeah, there was still a lot to get excited about. I mean, the top 3 is Goff, Zhang, and Fernandez.
As far as like age,
21 and under.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to go there in this conversation, but I'm looking at the top 20 currently, and some of the names that we've said that aren't in there, I can give up some names of who I'd rather see them switch places with.
Yeah, maybe this is Redmond. Iga's being called up to the stage. So we may as well talk us through what happens. Chris Evert, no one knows what's happening. Everyone's kind of like being told what to do, but like no one's clearly rehearsed this. Evert picks up the Billie Jean King trophy, this sort of lovely sort of designed silver cup, hands it to Swiatek, who thanks her for it and raises it above her head and shakes it. Fortunately, the lid doesn't fall off. Like at Roland Garros. She raises it and shows it to the crowd, shows off the latest trophy in her collection, which, let's face it, is starting to get
very impressive trophy collection. When Architectural Digest does a tour of Iga Swiatek's Polish countryside home in about 10 years or so, I think her trophy cabinet is going to look pretty nice.
Yeah. So very, very good. So yeah, she's
2023 WTA Finals singles champion, Iga Swiatek.
Yes. What a name to have on the Roll of Honor. We'll see what this means, how she's going to go forward.
Has she connected with Taylor Swift yet? Like, has Taylor Swift been aware of
Taylor Swift needs to give it.
Yeah, she should. I mean,
tickets.
Swiatek has been saying for some years now she's a Swiftie, and she's like a very like in the sporting world, maybe not to like celebrity athlete international status, but I feel like her people can get in touch with Taylor Swift. I don't see why not.
Maybe
she's the more tennis player in the world.
Maybe Taylor's currently a little bit distracted at the minute.
I have a whole idea. Like Taylor could have a whole music video that she could play up on tennis. Something in her songs. I mean, it doesn't have to involve tennis as a whole, but a tennis court could definitely be a part of it. And then boom, call Iga Swiatek. If anybody's listening, I'm the man for that. I'll produce the whole thing.
Do you have a background in music production?
No, but I have ideas, and ideas are they're half the issue.
Let's face it, that's how Talking Tennis started. An idea in John's head who was like, I have no experience in this, but we'll give it a go. And look where we are now.
Look at us now. Yeah, look at us now.
Look at us now. We have 3,700 subscribers. And by the way, if you're not subscribed, you should come and join these numbers. Join us. No. But yeah, definitely subscribe because there'll be more content coming your way. We're going to do a full debrief on the WTA Finals tomorrow on WTA Weekly, and I will be hosting the show as always. we will have lots of coverage coming from the Billie Jean King Cup this week. John is there. He's going to be interviewing as many people as he can find, and he'll be bringing us all the updates from maybe some would say the real closing event of the season. Depends on how much you care about it. I care about it. I always enjoy Billie Jean King Cup and Davis Cup, even if it's current format. And then, but also keep an eye because, well, it's the ATP Finals coming up, and we will be bringing you all the coverage.
I'm mildly excited for that one. Mildly.
Yes. So we will have commentary like this of the ATP Finals. We're going to have any kind of other fun features that we do similar to this WTA Finals, and yeah, that's when we really do sign off the tennis season. For me, I guess, my tennis season is winding down now. The WTA season's ending. As Iga Swiatek kisses the trophy, and I was posing with Jessica.
In a flurry of Spanish music and confetti, she's the champion. That's the end of the WTA Tour regular season.
And let's face it, what's more WTA at the minute than Iga Swiatek serving some bagels
and a breadstick?
And a breadstick. The bakery has been thrown open for all.
Yeah, that's 2 consecutive seasons now with at least 20 bagels in a year. That's something.
The level that woman can produce is mind blowing.
At least Swiatek and Pegula can find some moments to giggle, because I'm not sure I'd be giggly after losing 6-1, 6-love. So that's a good representation of them, especially in spite of all the things that have gone on in Cancun. It wasn't the most thrilling match, obviously, but there's still some good scenes. Good scenes. Sombreros can change everything. They have men playing guitars and trombones with sombreros on, and that can change anybody's mood.
Sombrero? Are you saying sombreros make everything better?
Yes, absolutely. Put a sombrero. Right. I challenge you. If you're ever in a funky mood, put a sombrero on and watch what happens.
Okay, right. So that's it. Australian Open coverage. You and I getting sombreros.
Sure. Let's do it before then. Let's do Acapulco and really, make it a full loop.
Acapulco's after the Australian Open.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going anywhere. I'm going to be a tennis fan before the Australian Open, after the Australian Open.
Yeah. It's ideas. We're throwing ideas out there.
Yes, this is what we do at Talking Tennis. We talk through tennis ideas.
Let's face it. It's just sort of things can get a bit odd over here. Usually when I'm in the commentary chair. Don't worry, Jane. I will be doing WTA power rankings before every major. I always enjoy doing those. To be honest, my main motivation for doing those is no one else on the internet, on the YouTube internet, is doing them for the WTA. So I
have to find something that no one else is doing on the YouTube about tennis. I have some ideas. I just haven't really put them out there on YouTube land yet.
Well, when you do, where can we find you?
You can look me up on all socials at Tuned Into Tennis. Not to be confused with Talking Tennis, although I do love my Talking Tennis family, but to find my specific thoughts about live tennis matches, recaps of tournaments, and some colorful analysis of the sport. That's the best way I like to put it. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at Tuned Into Tennis. I actually may be doing a Tuesday Tuned Into Tennis special on Twitter Spaces tomorrow afternoon. So make sure to go over to Twitter, follow me there, and we can have a nice conversation about the final WTA event of the season and some other fun things.
You know what you were saying about sombreros making everything better?
What's that?
Well, they've just put sombreros on the 2 finalists. Eva's swapping out her cap for it. She's making sure her hair, getting her hair ready for it. I'm going to say this now, judging by the expression on Jessica Pegula's face, sombreros do not make everything better.
She won one in Guadalajara last year. This one just might not be as big.
I'm not entirely sure a sombrero makes her current situation better, is more what I'm saying.
I'm sure that runner-up check might, when she actually puts her hands on it.
Hey, look, we're not all tennis players are Sloane Stephens. The check does not have to feature so heavily.
How did Sloane Stevens catch a stray on this day in November?
I will
That's
find a
crazy.
way.
Oh, wait. Sloane Stevens competing in the Billie Jean King Cup, right? For the
she's on Team
USA,
US.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at that. We tied it all together. Go
We're
Sloane
tying it.
Stevens.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think after almost about 2 hours, I think we probably ended up talking and streaming for longer than the match, like double the length of the actual match. No, the actual match was about an hour, just 58 minutes.
Yes.
So we were all right. We're not going to embarrass the WTA. We'll probably end this pretty soon.
I think this is a nice time to do
wrap it up.
our outro. Yeah.
Well then, thank you so much for coming on, Miles, and I will definitely be tuning into tennis with you. And you should keep talking tennis with us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Follow us on X, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel. Please do come on this journey with us. Thanks for being with us for the WTA season in 2024. We're not quite done yet. We will be doing some more to wrap up the season. Oh, that's nice. Chris Everett's posing with Jessica Pegula for photos. But I want to say thanks to everyone for joining us, and keep an eye on everything we're doing from Seville. But until now, as Iga Swiatek steps up with the WTA trophy, wearing a blue sombrero, surrounded by confetti and a mariachi band, I will say thank you all so much for joining. Take care and keep talking tennis.
That's all, folks.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.